The alien starship hung silently above the planet. Its sleek silver hull reflected the faint light of the distant sun, and inside, the crew buzzed with quiet anticipation. Admiral Varn, the leader of the expedition, leaned over the viewing console, his many eyes scanning the lush green surface below. "This planet shows no advanced signs of civilization," Varn said, his tone calm but sharp. "Only small structures and creatures. Nothing that should concern us." Commander Zara, standing beside him, adjusted her uniform. "Sir, their energy readings are unusual, low but steady, almost like they are harnessing some form of local power." Varn waved a claw dismissively. "They are domesticated animals, Zara. We have encountered similar creatures before. They may have intelligence, yes, but nothing dangerous." As he spoke, one of the small alien scouts descended to the surface. The ship's cameras zoomed in, showing a valley surrounded by jagged cliffs. From this vantage, the planet looked peaceful, almost serene. Birds, or creatures like them, soared above the forests, and rivers sparkled under the sunlight. Then something moved in the valley. A group of humans appeared, walking cautiously through the terrain. They were accompanied by large, unusual creatures. They were enormous, much bigger than any domesticated animal Varn had seen before. Their thick fur shimmered in the sunlight, and their eyes carried a quiet intelligence. One creature carried a log in its massive jaws, while another lifted fallen debris effortlessly with its claws. Varn's eyes widened. Those are domesticated?" he whispered, more to himself than to anyone else. Zara tilted her head, studying the creatures. "They appear gentle, sir, but their size and strength, it is unusual." Before Varn could respond, one of the creatures noticed the alien scout. It let out a deep, resonant sound, almost like a roar. The ground seemed to vibrate slightly. Then, with astonishing speed, it leaped toward the scout, landing so close that the humans barely had time to react. The scout exploded into sparks, shredded by the creature's sheer power. Varn staggered backward, claws gripping the railing. "Run!" he shouted instinctively, though his crew hesitated, stunned by the display. The humans barely reacted, standing their ground as if nothing had happened. One of them, a tall man with short brown hair, gestured toward the creatures. They obeyed instantly, forming a protective circle around him. Zara whispered, "Sir, they are organized. They are not just animals. They follow orders." Varn swallowed hard. "Impossible. They are supposed to be domesticated, harmless." The humans began to advance, their movements precise and calm. The creatures followed without hesitation, their eyes never leaving the aliens. One of them, a massive creature with glowing markings along its fur, stepped forward, growling softly, a warning rather than an attack. The alien scouts tried to retreat, firing their weapons. The beams of energy bounced harmlessly off the creature's thick hides. Sparks flew, but no damage was done. The creatures were too fast, too strong, and their reflexes were astonishing. Varn's mind raced. "This cannot be happening. We are trained for combat, advanced weapons. How can these pets resist us?" Zara touched his arm. "Sir, we underestimated them, their intelligence. It's beyond what we expected. They are more like guardians than domesticated animals." The human's leader raised his hand, signaling the creatures to stop. They obeyed immediately, standing perfectly still. Varn felt a shiver run through him. These were not ordinary beings. They were something else entirely. The humans began speaking, though the aliens could not understand the words. Yet the tone was calm, commanding, and confident. Varn realized the humans were not afraid, not even a little. The creatures seemed to respond to invisible cues, shifting positions to create a barrier between the humans and the alien scouts. They were smart enough to know that aggression could escalate. They were disciplined, protective, and united. Varn's mind worked furiously. "We cannot fight them," he muttered. "Our weapons are useless. Our tactics, obsolete. We are outmatched." The humans advanced slowly, their posture confident. Each step they took was deliberate, measured. Varn noticed they carried no weapons, only tools and equipment. It was clear they were not attacking, yet their calm presence was more threatening than any weapon. One of the creatures, larger than the rest, stepped closer to the humans. It had bright amber eyes and fur that glimmered in the sun. It sniffed the air, then locked its gaze on Varn's ship. The alien felt an unexpected chill. This creature understood him. Zara whispered, "Sir, they are reading us, assessing us. Their intelligence, it's remarkable." Varn could hardly breathe. "Domesticated. My foot," he muttered. "These are warriors, guardians, and they are protecting their humans." As if to prove the point, the creatures moved in perfect synchronization. One leapt, knocking another scout out of the air before it could even react. Another grabbed debris from the ground and hurled it with uncanny accuracy toward a hovering drone, destroying it instantly. The alien crew panicked. Alarms blared, lights flashed, and the ship shuddered as it tried to maneuver away from the valley. But the creatures anticipated every move. They were everywhere at once, coordinated in a way no enemy fleet could match. Varn's hands shook as he gave the order to retreat. "Full speed. Leave this planet. We cannot engage." The humans did not pursue. They watched, calm and unafraid, as the alien ship pulled away. The creatures stood silently, scanning the sky until the ship disappeared beyond the horizon. Then, they turned back to their human companions, nuzzling them and lowering their heads as if nothing had happened. Captain Elias, the human leader, crouched beside one of the larger creatures. "Good job, Nero," he said softly. The creature responded with a low rumble, like a purr. Another human approached a smaller creature, tying a pack to its back. "We need to move," she said, "but we'll be fine. They won't follow us unless we give them a reason." Elias nodded. "These creatures, they are more than pets. They are family. And if anyone threatens us, they will fight without hesitation." Far above, the alien Admiral did not speak. His crew looked to him for orders, but he remained silent, his mind racing. These were supposed to be domesticated animals. Instead, they were strategic, intelligent, and terrifying. He realized something that shook him to his core. The humans and their creatures were not to be underestimated. As the ship left the planet, Varn muttered under his breath, "Those are domesticated? Impossible. And yet, I've never seen anything like them." The valley returned to calm. Birds sang, rivers sparkled, and the humans continued their journey, protected by the guardians who moved with silent grace. But the alien Admiral would not forget. He would warn his fleet, and the universe would remember that there existed a planet where domesticated creatures were, in truth, unstoppable protectors. And on the planet, the humans and their guardians moved as one, ready for whatever challenge might come next. The alien Admiral's starship trembled as it moved away from the planet. Inside, the crew whispered nervously. Some looked at the screens in disbelief, replaying the images of the creatures that had destroyed their scouts so easily. Others tried to analyze the humans' tactics, but nothing made sense. Admiral Varn paced the command deck, his multiple eyes darting between the sensors. "We were wrong," he admitted, his voice shaking slightly. "Those creatures, they are not pets. They are soldiers, guardians. We underestimated them." Commander Zara, standing beside him, frowned. "Sir, I warned you." Their energy patterns, the way they moved, even the humans' calm control, it was unusual. "They are organized and intelligent." Varn slammed a claw on the railing. "Organized? Intelligent? They are supposed to be domesticated, harmless. How can they be so strong, coordinated, and aware of us?" A young officer approached nervously. "Sir, maybe we could try to communicate. If they are domesticated, perhaps they will respond." "If we show no threat," Varn shook his head. "Communicate. We almost lost half our drones. Communication will not help. Retreat is our only option. We must report this to the High Council." Below on the planet, the humans and their guardians moved carefully through the valley. The creature's eyes scanned the skies, alert for any threat. Captain Elias led the humans, speaking quietly, giving commands that the guardians obeyed immediately. "These creatures are remarkable," one human said, looking at the massive guardian beside her. "They are gentle with us, but dangerous to anyone else." Elias nodded. That is why they are called guardians. They protect us without hesitation, without fear. That is their nature. And that is why the aliens will not attack again, at least not easily. Meanwhile, on the alien starship, Varn called for a council. The senior officers gathered around a holographic table. We cannot engage them directly, Varn said. Our weapons are ineffective. Our strategies fail. They are too fast, too strong, and their intelligence surpasses any known domesticated species. One officer, braver than the rest, spoke. Admiral, perhaps we can observe them further. Learn their behavior. There may be a way to exploit their weaknesses, if any exist. Varn shook his head. I do not want to risk it. Observation alone could be dangerous. Their awareness. It is unlike anything we have faced. Retreat is the safest course. Back on the planet, the humans paused at the edge of a forest. The Guardians positioned themselves in a protective circle, their eyes glowing faintly as they scanned the surroundings. We need to reach the canyon before nightfall, Elias said. It will give us cover, and the Guardians can help us navigate safely. A smaller Guardian, agile and fast, bounded ahead, scouting for obstacles. Another lifted a fallen tree, blocking the path, clearing the way with ease. The humans marveled at their strength and intelligence, knowing that without these creatures, their journey would be far more dangerous. Suddenly, a low hum echoed from the sky. The humans looked up, spotting a new group of alien scouts descending. Unlike the first group, these were larger, armed with more advanced sensors. Stay calm, Elias whispered. The Guardians know what to do. The Guardians formed a defensive formation. The largest of them stepped forward, growling deeply. The sound resonated across the valley, warning the aliens without a single act of violence. The alien scouts hesitated, scanning the area. They had seen what happened before, and fear had started to settle in their minds. One of their drones attempted to fire, but a Guardian leaped with incredible speed, knocking it from the sky before it could even take aim. Sparks flew as the metal crashed to the ground and the aliens froze. On the ship above, Varn watched in horror. They are learning, he muttered. Every action we take, they anticipate it. Retreat is more urgent than ever, Zara spoke quietly. Sir, I think they are sentient. They understand strategy, consequences, and loyalty. They are guardians in every sense. Not pets, not tools, Varn shivered. Sentient? That is impossible. We have never encountered anything like this. If the High Council knew, they would never forgive us for underestimating them. The humans moved forward cautiously, their guardians forming a protective wall around them. One of the humans, a young woman named Mira, knelt beside a small creature. Easy, little one, she whispered. The Guardian nuzzled her hand, its massive head gentle despite its size. Elias gestured to the larger Guardians. They protect us without hesitation. That is why we can move safely. Remember, do not provoke them. They fight only when necessary, but when they do, they are unstoppable. The alien scouts, realizing their weapons were ineffective, attempted to retreat, but the Guardians had already predicted their path. One of the massive creatures leaped, landing precisely in front of the retreating drones, cutting off their escape. Another Guardian grabbed debris and blocked a narrow passage, ensuring the aliens could not regroup easily. Varn's eyes widened in fear. They are tactical, coordinated. Every move is calculated. They are unbeatable. Zara placed a claw on his arm. Sir, if we continue, we risk losing our entire fleet. The humans and their Guardians are more capable than any army we know. We should leave immediately. Varn nodded slowly. Prepare for immediate departure. All ships. Full speed. As the alien ships pulled back, Elias and the humans watched silently. They will not return soon, he said. At least not without careful planning. But the Guardians, they have shown their strength, and they will protect us always. The Guardians lowered their stance, relaxing slightly as the immediate threat disappeared. One of the largest, Nero, lay down beside Elias, resting its massive head on his shoulder. Elias smiled. Good job, old friend. You have kept us safe again. The humans continued their journey through the valley, confident in the Guardians' protection. Each step was careful, but their spirits were high. They knew the aliens underestimated them, and they intended to keep it that way. Above, Varn's starship moved through the void of space, the planet shrinking behind him. His mind replayed the events over and over. Domesticated? He whispered, shaking his head. No, these creatures are warriors. And the humans. They are clever, courageous, and united with them. This is unprecedented. Zara glanced at him. Sir, the High Council will demand answers. And when they learn what we faced, they may not believe it. Varn closed his eyes briefly. Believe it or not, we were outmatched. The humans and their guardians are stronger than any enemy we have faced. We must learn from this or pay the price next time. On the planet, the humans reached the edge of the forest and paused. The guardians spread out, scanning the area for any hidden threats. Mira whispered to one, "We are safe. Thanks to you." The creature responded with a soft rumble, as if acknowledging her words. Elias looked to the horizon. "The aliens will think twice before returning," he said. "And we will be ready. With the guardians, no force can break us." The valley returned to calm. Rivers sparkled, birds sang, and the humans and their guardians moved together, united, strong, and prepared for whatever challenges awaited them. Even as the alien fleet disappeared into the distance, one thought remained clear in Admiral Varn's mind. The planet's so-called domesticated creatures were the most formidable beings he had ever faced. And the humans bonded with them were equally extraordinary. The galaxy would remember this encounter, and Varn would never forget the day he underestimated creatures that should have been harmless, and nearly lost everything because of it. The sun dipped low over the valley, casting long shadows across the forest and rivers. The humans and their guardians had found a natural stronghold at the edge of the canyon, where cliffs formed natural barriers on three sides. Captain Elias surveyed the area, satisfied that it provided a perfect defensive position. "We have room to rest here for the night," Elias said, "but we must remain alert. The aliens may return and they will not forget what happened today." The guardians spread across the canyon floor, their massive forms moving silently, eyes scanning every corner. Nero, the largest of the guardians, lay near Elias, his head resting lightly against the captain's shoulder. Despite his enormous size, his movements were careful and deliberate, showing a quiet intelligence. Mira knelt beside a smaller guardian, adjusting a pack tied to its back. "We rely on them more than we thought," she whispered. "But they are more than strong, they are smart. They know what to do and they trust us." Elias nodded. "And that trust is mutual. We protect them as much as they protect us. Tonight we rest. Tomorrow we plan." Far above the planet, the alien fleet had regrouped. Admiral Varn sat in his command chair, his mind racing. The images of the creatures and their humans haunted him. He could not shake the feeling that he had faced a force far beyond anything the fleet was prepared for. "We cannot attack directly," he admitted to Zara, who stood beside him. "Our weapons failed. Our scouts were destroyed. And those creatures, they anticipate our moves before we even make them. It is impossible." Zara frowned. "Sir, the humans are clever, but it is their bond with the creatures that makes them unstoppable. If we study them carefully, perhaps we can find a way to exploit weaknesses, if any exist." Varn shook his head. "No, we cannot risk it. Observation alone brought us close to disaster. Retreat is safest. We must inform the High Council and rethink our strategy." Yet even as he spoke, deep down, he knew retreat might not be enough. The creatures were not just strong, they were strategic. And the humans were not just clever, they were fearless. Together, they formed a force unlike anything the aliens had faced. On the planet, night fell over the canyon. The humans lit small, controlled fires, careful not to draw attention from above. The guardians gathered around them, their glowing eyes reflecting the firelight. Though they rested, their vigilance never wavered. Mira looked at Elias. "They don't sleep like we do," she said softly. "They rest, but they remain aware. It is like they know something we do not." Elias nodded. "They are guardians. That is their nature. They watch, protect, and respond instantly to danger. We have been lucky to have them with us, but we cannot rely solely on strength. We must be smart too." The humans took turns keeping watch through the night. The alien fleet had retreated, but Elias knew they would return. He considered their next steps carefully. They could not remain in the canyon forever. They needed to understand the planet better, locate resources, and find strategic positions in case of another attack. At dawn, the valley was alive with movement. Birds sang, rivers sparkled, and the guardians were already patrolling the canyon. Elias gathered the humans for a meeting. "We need to map the area," he said. "Know every cliff, river, and forest edge. The guardians will help us. They understand the land better than we ever could. We will prepare for anything the aliens might try." The humans divided tasks. Some studied the creatures' movements and abilities, noting how they could respond to attacks. Others gathered supplies, setting up safe zones and fallback points. All the while, the Guardians moved seamlessly alongside them, a perfect combination of strength and intelligence. One of the younger humans, Jalen, watched a Guardian leap over a wide river with ease. "It is incredible," he whispered. "They can move faster and stronger than anything I imagined. How can anyone fight them?" Elias smiled slightly. "They do not fight unless necessary. That is what makes them dangerous. They are calm, controlled, and strategic. Never forget that." Meanwhile, in orbit, Varn held another council. The High Council had demanded a report. He hesitated, choosing his words carefully. "We underestimated the planet's species," he said. "We believed they were domesticated, harmless creatures. They are not. They are guardians, intelligent, strong, and strategic. We must reconsider our approach." One of the council members, a veteran strategist, asked sharply, "Are you suggesting a full retreat, Admiral?" Varn nodded slowly. "Yes, we cannot engage them directly, not yet. Observation and caution are necessary. Any direct attack would result in heavy losses." Zara added, "We must study their bond with the humans. That connection is the key to their strength. If we can understand it, we may find a strategy, but it will not be easy." Back on the planet, Elias had devised a plan. "We cannot assume the aliens will give up," he said to his team. "We will use the canyon to our advantage. The Guardians know every path, every hidden corner. We will create traps, distractions, and safe zones. If the aliens return, we will be ready." The Guardians responded as if understanding every word. One, a smaller but incredibly fast creature, bounded ahead to check paths, while Nero and the larger Guardians positioned themselves at the canyon's entrances, watching for any sign of danger. Hours passed. The humans worked tirelessly, mapping the terrain, setting up observation points, and creating signals to communicate silently across distances. The Guardians moved alongside them, carrying supplies, clearing paths, and keeping watch. As night fell again, Elias and Mira sat by the fire, watching the glowing eyes of the Guardians around them. "We are stronger than we imagined," Mira said softly. Elias nodded. "Yes, but strength is nothing without strategy. The aliens will learn and they will return. We must be ready, not just with the Guardians, but with our minds. We have intelligence, courage, and preparation. That is what will protect us." Far above, Admiral Varn could not sleep. He watched the planet below, haunted by the images of the Guardians and humans. "Domesticated?" he muttered under his breath. "Never. They are warriors. And the humans, cleverer than any opponent we have faced." Zara looked at him. "Sir, we should plan for observation missions. Small, careful probes. If we approach too aggressively, we risk losing everything again." Varn sighed. "Yes, observation. But I fear even that may be dangerous. These creatures and their humans, they are more than we imagined, and we are not prepared." Below in the canyon, the Guardians shifted positions. Even while resting, they maintained a silent vigilance. Their bond with the humans was unspoken but strong, built on trust, respect, and shared survival. Elias spoke softly to Nero, who lay at his side. "We face challenges every day, old friend. But with you and the others, we will endure. Nothing can break us when we are united." A soft rumble escaped Nero like a purr of agreement. The humans smiled, comforted by the presence of their Guardians. Together, they were prepared for whatever the next wave might bring. Even as the stars blinked above the planet, signaling the vastness of space, one truth remained clear. The aliens had underestimated the humans and their Guardians. And when the time came for a new encounter, the planet would stand ready, defended by those who were underestimated and unstoppable. The first rays of sunlight touched the canyon, painting the cliffs in shades of gold and orange. Captain Elias stood at the edge of the plateau, eyes scanning the horizon. The humans had spent days preparing the valley for defense, mapping every path, every hidden corner. The Guardians moved silently among them, their massive forms blending with the rocky terrain. "We have to be ready," Elias said, his voice calm but firm. "They will return, and this time they may not retreat so easily." Mira adjusted the straps on her pack, glancing at the smaller Guardians that patrolled nearby. "Do you think they learned from their last failure?" she asked. Elias shook his head. "Probably. But the aliens underestimate one thing, us. And these creatures, our Guardians, will make sure no one threatens us here." Far above the planet, the alien fleet had gathered once again. Admiral Varn's face was grim as he studied the readings. The scouts had confirmed the humans' location, and their guardians were as powerful as before. Yet Varn knew retreat was not an option this time. The High Council demanded results. "We cannot lose again," Varn said, addressing his officers. "This planet is strategic, and those creatures, those so-called domesticated animals, they are a threat we cannot ignore." Zara tapped on a holographic display. "Sir, the humans have fortified their position. The canyon is narrow and defensible. Any attack will be difficult, even with superior numbers." Varn's multiple eyes narrowed. "Then we strike carefully. Precision strategy. No direct assault. We will divide their forces and isolate the humans from their guardians." The humans, unaware of the aliens' plans, moved through the canyon with caution. The guardians scouted ahead, leaping across cliffs and streams with ease. Nero paused occasionally, sniffing the air as if sensing danger before it arrived. Elias gathered his team for a meeting. "They may come again," he said. "We have traps, fallback positions, and observation points. But more importantly, we have the guardians. They will anticipate movements, protect us, and respond faster than we ever could." Mira nodded. "They are more than strong. They think, plan, and act, and they trust us." As if to prove the point, a small disturbance rippled through the trees. A hawk-like creature, one of the natural predators of the valley, swooped too close. The guardians reacted instantly, forming a protective circle around the humans and driving the predator away without harming it unnecessarily. Elias smiled. "See, they act not out of anger but protection. That is the difference. They are guardians in every sense." Hours passed and the humans continued their preparations. Observation posts were set up along cliff edges, paths were mapped, and signals were established for silent communication. The guardians moved among them, carrying supplies, clearing debris, and constantly scanning for threats. Then in the distance, a shadow crossed the sky. The humans looked up. The alien fleet had returned, moving with careful precision. Varn's ships glimmered under the sunlight, sleek and deadly. The aliens had learned from their first failure. This time they would attempt a coordinated strike. Elias gave the order. "Positions. Guardians, flank the edges. Humans, move to observation points. We know this terrain, use it." The guardians responded immediately. Nero and the larger ones positioned themselves at the canyon entrances, while smaller, faster creatures patrolled the slopes, ready to intercept any alien scout. From the alien ships, beams of scanning energy swept across the canyon. Drones attempted to descend, but the guardians were ready. A massive guardian leapt, knocking a drone out of the air with a single swipe of its paw. Sparks flew as metal collided with fur, and the aliens realized their precision would not be enough. Varn's voice came through the comm system. "Focus on isolating the humans. Target the smaller creatures first. Remove their protections," Zara frowned. "Sir, the guardians are too fast and intelligent. Every attack we attempt is anticipated. They are not just strong, they understand strategy." Below, the humans watched as a drone approached, only to be intercepted by a guardian before it could land. Elias whispered, "Do not panic. They cannot defeat the guardians. Watch their movements, they make mistakes too." Sure enough, the aliens miscalculated. A small drone descended too quickly and became entangled in the canyon's trees. The guardians immediately responded, removing it from the humans' path and neutralizing the threat without difficulty. Elias motioned for the humans to move along a side path. "They will try again. We must be unpredictable. Use the terrain, use the guardians' speed. Lead them where we want them." The humans moved silently, communicating with hand signals. The guardians spread out, patrolling every route, their intelligence allowing them to anticipate alien maneuvers. One of the smaller guardians leapt across a cliff to intercept a second drone, landing perfectly on a ledge and disabling the device. Varn watched in disbelief. How can they counter everything so perfectly? They are impossible. Zara spoke quietly. "Sir, the humans' bond with the guardians is the key. It is not just strength or intelligence, it is cooperation. That is why they are unbeatable here." Elias observed the aliens from his vantage point, noting their attempts to divide the humans and their guardians. "They are trying to isolate us," he said. "But the guardians respond instantly. They never leave our side. Every attempt fails." As the sun rose higher, the aliens launched a more coordinated strike, attempting to flank the humans and force them into a narrow passage. But the Guardians anticipated the movement, blocking the path and guiding the humans safely to an alternate route. One of the larger Guardians, Nero, roared, a deep resounding sound that echoed through the canyon. The aliens froze, sensing the intelligence behind the roar. It was not a threat for violence, but a warning. They would not succeed. Elias smiled, watching the aliens retreat slightly. They will learn, but it may take time. The Guardians protect us with precision, intelligence, and courage. That is why we survive. Hours turned into afternoon, and the alien fleet began to withdraw. Varn's face was pale, his multiple eyes wide with disbelief. Impossible. They are coordinated, strategic, stronger than we imagined. Zara nodded slowly. Yes, sir. They are not just domesticated creatures. They are Guardians. And the humans. They are clever, fearless, and united. This planet is their home, and they will defend it with every resource they have. Back on the canyon floor, Elias gathered his team. We survived the first wave, he said. But they will return. We must remain vigilant, learn from this encounter, and prepare for the next. With the Guardians, we are stronger than any enemy in the galaxy. Mira looked at Nero, who lay resting beside Elias. They are more than pets, she said softly. They are family, and together we are unstoppable. As the sun set over the canyon, casting long shadows across the valley, the humans and their Guardians prepared for the night. Fires burned softly, illuminating the cliffs while the Guardians patrolled silently, ever watchful. Even as the stars appeared above, Admiral Varn could not stop thinking about the planet below. Domesticated? He muttered under his breath. Never, these creatures, and they're humans, are warriors unlike any we have faced, and we cannot defeat them, at least not here. The valley fell into calm. Rivers sparkled, trees swayed, and the humans and their Guardians rested. But their vigilance never wavered. They knew the aliens would return, but they were prepared. They were united. And with Guardians by their side, nothing could break them. For Captain Elias and his team, one truth had become clear. Underestimated forces could still be the strongest. And on this planet, the Guardians and humans stood together, ready to face any challenge, defend their home, and prove that courage, intelligence, and unity were stronger than any alien threat. The valley was quiet, almost too quiet. Captain Elias stood on the edge of the canyon, eyes scanning the horizon. The humans and their Guardians had prepared for this moment. Every path was mapped, every cliff watched, and every Guardian positioned. They had survived 2 waves of alien attacks, but the fleet had returned with new tactics. The aliens have learned, Elias said, his voice steady. They will try something different this time. But we are ready. Mira knelt beside a smaller Guardian, adjusting its pack. Do you think they'll retreat again? She asked. Elias shook his head. No, they will try everything they can. But they will fail. The Guardians are stronger than they realize, and we are clever enough to use them. Above the valley, the alien fleet appeared like a dark swarm against the sun. Admiral Varn's face was tense, his multiple eyes scanning the terrain. The aliens had spent days planning, attempting to outsmart the humans and their Guardians. We strike together, Varn ordered. Divide their forces. Isolate the humans from the Guardians. This time we cannot fail. Zara studied the holographic maps. Sir, they are in the canyon again. The terrain favors the humans. Any direct attack may be more dangerous than before. Varn gritted his claws. Then we use strategy, not brute force. Precision strikes, small units, and careful coordination. Do not underestimate them. On the ground, Elias gathered his team. Stay calm, he said. The aliens may try tricks, but we know the terrain. The Guardians know it better. Follow the plan, trust them, and we will be fine. Nero, the largest Guardian, stepped forward. His amber eyes glowed faintly, reflecting the morning sun. The smaller Guardians spread across the canyon, forming a protective barrier around the humans. Every move was deliberate, every path covered. The first wave of alien scouts descended small and fast, attempting to flank the humans. But the Guardians anticipated the movement. One leaped over a narrow gap, landing in the path of a drone and sending it spinning harmlessly into the canyon wall. Another Guardian blocked a second path, ensuring no scout could approach the humans unnoticed. Elias smiled. See, they think faster than the aliens. They respond before the enemy can act. That is why we survive. The aliens adjusted quickly, deploying more advanced drones equipped with scanning devices and light weapons. Beams of energy shot across the canyon, But the Guardians were faster. They dodged, intercepted, and neutralized every attack without harming the humans. Varn watched, growing frustrated. How? How can they counter everything? They are impossible, Zara replied quietly. Sir, it is not just strength or speed. It is coordination. The humans and Guardians act as one. That bond is the key. The humans moved along hidden paths, leading the aliens deeper into the canyon. The Guardians responded instantly, cutting off escape routes and ensuring the humans remained protected. Each move was carefully planned, turning the terrain itself into a weapon. Elias gestured toward a narrow pass. Lead them here. It is too narrow for their fleet to maneuver, but perfect for us. The Guardians will control the field. The aliens followed, unaware of the trap. As their ships tried to enter the pass, the Guardians leapt from cliffs, striking drones and scattering units. Sparks flew as metal clashed with fur, and the aliens realized too late that the humans had anticipated their strategy. Varn shouted in frustration. Pull back! Regroup, they are smarter than before. Zara warned. Sir, if we continue, we risk losing our entire strike team. Their coordination, it is unmatched. On the canyon floor, Elias and his team moved swiftly. The Guardians formed a protective circle covering all sides. One of the smaller Guardians bounded ahead, disabling a scanning drone before it could transmit data back to the fleet. Another lifted a fallen rock, blocking a narrow path and forcing the aliens into a trap where their technology was useless. Hours passed as the battle of strategy continued. The aliens attempted diversion, but the Guardians responded instantly. Every trick the aliens devised was countered with intelligence, precision, and speed. The humans guided the Guardians using hand signals and subtle commands, while the creatures acted independently to neutralize threats. Finally, the alien fleet began to retreat. Varn's face was pale, his claws gripping the railing tightly. Impossible, they are unbeatable in this terrain. And the humans, their bond with the creatures makes them unstoppable. Zara nodded. Sir, we cannot defeat them here. Not with the Guardians present. Retreat is necessary. Observation only. Below, Elias watched the fleet disappear over the horizon. They will not return for a while, he said. But we cannot be careless. We must stay alert, continue training, and strengthen our positions. Mira patted a Guardian's head. We are lucky to have them. They are more than pets. They are family. And together we are stronger than any enemy. Nero rumbled softly, lying beside Elias. The massive Guardian's presence was comforting and reassuring. The humans and their Guardians had survived attacks that should have overwhelmed them. They had proven that intelligence, strategy, and unity could triumph over technology and numbers. Elias turned to his team. Remember this day? The aliens underestimated us and they failed. But the galaxy will learn about this valley, and they will know that we are not to be underestimated. Night fell over the canyon and the humans set up camp. Fires burned softly, illuminating the cliffs and casting shadows over the Guardians' forms. The creatures patrolled silently, ever watchful, their glowing eyes scanning the darkness for any sign of danger. Elias sat beside Nero, watching the stars. We have survived 2 attacks, he said softly. And now we are stronger, smarter, and more prepared than ever. Nothing can break our unity. Nothing. Mira smiled, watching the smaller Guardians play in the firelight. They are incredible. Gentle, strong, intelligent, and loyal. I never thought domesticated creatures could be so amazing. Elias shook his head. They are not just domesticated. They are warriors, Guardians, and our friends. And together, we will defend this valley no matter what comes. Far above, Admiral Varn recorded his report to the High Council. His hands shook slightly as he wrote. We were wrong to underestimate the humans and their Guardians, he admitted. These creatures are intelligent, strategic, and extremely powerful. The humans' bond with them amplifies their effectiveness. Any direct assault is impossible. We must proceed with caution and reconsider our approach. Zara looked at him. Sir, the humans and Guardians have shown what unity and strategy can do. They are beyond anything we have faced before. This planet is theirs to defend, and they will succeed. Varn sighed deeply. Yes, I see that now. They are extraordinary. We have learned, at great cost, not to underestimate forces we do not fully understand. Back in the canyon, the humans and Guardians rested, knowing they had won this battle. But their vigilance never wavered. They knew the galaxy could send challenges, but they were prepared to face them together. Strength alone was not enough. Intelligence, courage, and unity were their greatest weapons. As the fires flickered and the night deepened, Elias whispered to Nero, "We have faced the impossible and survived. With you and the others, we can face anything." A soft rumble answered him, a sound of agreement, loyalty, and trust. And in that quiet moment under the stars, one truth was clear. The Guardians were not just pets, the humans were not just survivors. And the valley would remain protected by forces stronger than any alien fleet. Intelligence, courage, loyalty, and unity had triumphed. The galaxy would remember the day the aliens learned that domesticated creatures could be unstoppable, and that humans, when bonded with such guardians, were not to be underestimated. The valley remained calm, safe, and alive. The humans and their guardians had proven that together, nothing, no matter how powerful, could defeat them. And so the guardians watched, ever vigilant, as their humans rested. The bond between them had become legend in its own right, a story of courage, strategy, and unity that no enemy could ever break.